Why you all like that?
Lillard, long
It's like
range
Uzi
three.
Vert. I'm off at 80, I'm up. I don't got no time to relax. I turn a 2 to a 4, and I turn a 5 to a stack. I was just dealing at the bottom, told them to back it back. I got this shit out the mud, but they don't wanna talk about that. Keep it a stack.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Saif and welcome back to Second Take. As some of you might know, I haven't made a video for a while due to the fact I was dealing with a personal issue. I'd also like to say that for this week and the upcoming week, me and Vishwa won't be releasing that many videos as we usually do due to the fact we have finals coming up, but once finals are over, expect more videos to head your way. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's get into the video. In this video, I'll be talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a young promising team led by their stars Collin Sexton and Darius Garland. The Cavaliers started off the 2020-21 season with a record of 3-0, surprising a lot of teams and fans. Just recently though, they have started to slow down. At the time I'm currently recording this, they are 5-4 and recently coming off a win against the Morant-less Grizzlies. The Cavaliers are filled with a lot of talent, as with players I mentioned earlier, and veterans including Andre Drummond, Kevin Love, and JaVale McGee. I would say the main reasons why the Cavaliers have slowed down at the current moment is due to the fact they are dealing with a lot of injuries, which definitely seems to be taking a toll on the overall team. To start off, one of their young stars, Darius Garland, is dealing with a shoulder injury and says to be day by day, but has missed 3 straight games and expected to miss another. Their other leader, Collin Sexton, just recently got added to the injury report after their game against the Magic and is dealing with a left ankle sprain, but is also listed day by day. The Cavaliers also have their rookie Isaac Okoro out with a foot injury, as well as Kevin Love, who is dealing with a right calf injury, which is expected to take 3 to 4 weeks to heal. And finally, Kevin Porter Jr., who is dealing with a personal issue and doesn't have a specific date where we could see him return. Now, heading into our next segment, I'd like to talk about the Cavaliers team as a whole and their specific stats. This year, the Cavaliers are the worst team in the NBA when it comes to points per game. They are only averaging about 101 points per game. Thankfully for their defense is one of the best in the league, as they are the number 1 team when it comes to allowing points, as they only allow about 103 points per game. When it comes to rebounds and assists, they are in the middle of the pack, as they are 17th and 18th in those categories. This shows they are more of a defensive-builded team, and the newly hired coach, JB Bickerstaff, I'm not surprised as he comes up with different unique schemes. JB Bickerstaff was the Cavs' former assistant coach and was fully promoted to the main head coach after the firing of John Bellion. The Cavaliers are one of the youngest teams in the NBA, as they have an average age of 23.7, which is tied for the youngest with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their roster is filled with tons of talent and potential that could make them a serious threat in the near future, assuming they get more offensive pieces along the way. This team is filled with veterans who know the game of basketball very well and are good to be mentors for these young players who are developing on the rise. As I said earlier, the Cavaliers started off the season 3-0 and since have lost to the Knicks, Pacers, and Magic twice. In these games, they have also lost by over 9+ points, dropping their record to 5-4 and being 7th in the Eastern Conference. What seems to be the main issue, other than injuries, is the overall field goals made. This season, the Cavaliers are averaging 44% from the field, while only making an average of 10 threes on every 30 attempts, also referring to 30%. Also, at the line, they are averaging 65%, which is bottom half of the league, and individually, if you remove Darius Garland, it drops to 59%. Also, individually, Collin Sexton is leading the team in points, averaging 25.9 points per game, and the closest after is Andre Drummond, who averages 17 points per game, which is almost a 9-point difference. Andre Drummond is leading the team in rebounds with 15, as usual with any team he's on, and second-year player Garland is leading the team in assists with about 6.1 per game. A player that has really struggled this season for the Cavs in terms of play is Cedi Osman. Cedi Osman looked like a good developing player last season, but this year he has started the season off poorly. He's shooting a career low in field goal percentage, which is 33%, and a career low in 3-point percentage, which is 31%. This definitely has an impact on the Cavs, as not only is he missing shots, but he's regressing as he's been taking a bigger role heading into this season. Before I end this video, there are two segments I'd like to talk about. First is the playoffs for this season and the upcoming seasons, and secondly, I'd like to discuss some of the future acquisitions that they can make in order to fully complete their overall roster. So let's talk playoffs. The Cavaliers, like I stated earlier, currently sit at the 7th seed, and now, as crazy as it might sound, talking about the playoffs this early in the season, let's see how the scenarios could play out for the rest of the season. I'd like to assume that the 76ers, Celtics, Heat, Nets, Bucks, and Pacers are probably the teams that have their spot reserved for them in the playoffs. For the rest two remaining seeds, I could see any team getting the spot other than the Pistons, who seem to be the worst team in the NBA, but that's for the different video. I could see the Cavaliers grabbing one of the final two spots if they recover from injuries and improve their offense. Now, looking into the future, if not this, I really see them making a spot for the near future, as I see them making a big acquisition after the season and beyond. Which leads me to my final segment of the video, talking about some moves they can make in order for them to fulfill themselves in all categories. As bizarre as it might sound, but Kawhi Leonard, if he chooses to become a free agent this season, due to the fact that he has a player option, I could really see him going to the Cavaliers if they have some sort of promising team for the rest of the season. Not only will Kawhi provide them with even more defense, as they're already a good defensive team, but he will also provide them with scoring, which they desperately need. Imagine a next year starting lineup with Sexton at the 1, Garland at the 2, Leonard at the 3, Love at the 4, and finally Drummond at the 5, if he decides to stay as he becomes an unrestricted free agent. This lineup could be a deadly one once Garland and Sexton develop. I could see this becoming immediately a playoff team and possibly real contenders a couple seasons after. Now, assuming that they don't get Kawhi, which is very likely they won't, some other options are John Collins and Kelly Oubre Jr. to build the overall depth of this team. Adding this could possibly make them a low-end playoff team, but not for sure, and also they will not be real contenders unless they had someone with a big caliber potential, as I mentioned someone like Kawhi earlier. Overall, I'd like to say this Cavaliers team still has some overall work to do on their overall roster, as they do have some young growing pieces, and adding a star caliber player could make this team very dangerous. What do you think the Cavaliers will do this upcoming offseason, and what do you expect from them for the rest of the season? Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, as me and Vishwa try to put out YouTube videos for all the teams in the NBA, so stay tuned. And until then, peace.